Today I'm joined by Yves Longchamp, an economist and FX strategist at Pictet Cie in Geneva, to discuss the outlook of some of the G10 currencies and the next possible moves in the currency market by the Bank of Japan and the Swiss National Bank. Great to have you on the show. Now we're going to be talking about G10 currencies. So to start, let's talk about the latest Japanese intervention. Now, these interventions by the Bank of Japan, they have a tendency to be quite short-lived, but the mere size of last week's intervention does show some determination. Now, at what level do you think dollar yen has to reach before the Bank of Japan will intervene in the markets again?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Actually, the size of the intervention was quite huge. But the thing is, when I look, for example, this morning, the US dollar, Japanese yen exchange rate, actually, it didn't make a lot. Actually, in my view, I think that they are more and more determined, but probably it won't work in the future. In my view, that's when you look at the real value of the Japanese yen, it's not that expensive. If you compare, for example, the Swiss franc, which is highly, massively overvalued, this is not the case in Japan. So I think it probably won't work. But I'm afraid that they will intervene again. And at what level do you think they will intervene again then? You know, it's quite difficult to see. I think it's more about the speed of appreciation than more the value of the currency in itself.
Okay. Well, I understand you worked for the Swiss National Bank as a senior economist for 5 years, so you know a little bit about their thinking and what they might do next. Now, they did successfully intervene in the markets back in September, when setting a floor of 120 for the euro Swiss franc. Right. But they are threatening to do it again. What and when do you think will be the next move by the Swiss National Bank, and will it be to raise this, set the floor again and raise it to 125?
Yeah, they could to 125 or even 130. 130 is maybe more likely than 125. 125 is not a lot. Actually, it's difficult to say when it will occur, but what we can say is what could make that's occurring, and probably it's about deflationary risk. For example, the latest inflation figure was negative, and when you read again the 6th September, this is when they fixed the 120 level, the communique of the 6th of September, actually you see that what's important for them is economic growth on the one hand, but on the other hand, this is deflationary risk. And I think that if inflation remains very low or negative, actually, this could trigger a new kind of fixing to maybe 130.
Okay. Well, fundamentally, moving on to the US dollar, that's been rallying as its status as a safe haven currency, especially because of some of the news coming out of Europe. What can we expect to see from the US dollar and the euro in coming weeks?
Well, as long as we have pressure on the Eurozone debt crisis, which still be the case and probably will be the case in the coming weeks, this is quite good for the US dollar. So I won't be surprised to see the US dollar, strengthening quite a while until there is a sort of solution. And especially also this is linked to the equity market. Usually you have a negative correlation. It means that when equity goes up, dollar goes down, and inversely. And what do we observe today? For example, equities are going down and dollar going up. So we have this risk-on, risk-off environment, which is very important for US dollar.
Okay, and finally the British pound. Now, a few weeks ago you wrote an article about how as yield convergence is likely to continue, this could in the short term give the British pound an advantage over the euro. So I understand you're looking quite positively for the British pound at the moment.
Yes, actually I'm, less negatively positioned on the pound than the euro. The thing is, first of all, it's a very cheap currency. In 2007 it dropped quite a lot, and now it's one of the cheapest currency in the G10 universe. So, which is always good actually to buy a cheap currency. And then in terms of yields also, probably we know that yields in the UK are very low. And in Europe, the ECB, it was last week, I guess, they cut rates. They will probably do it in the future. So there is this kind of convergence which is positive for the pound.
Okay, that's great. Thank you ever so much for coming onto the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.